Do you know why you do what you do in your business? When I ask that, what I mean is, why do you provide the services that you provide? Or why do you provide the products that you provide to your clients? What's your heart's calling to do what you do? Earlier this week, I had an incredible conversation with my friend Richie Ote, who together with we're going to be launching or relaunching the Purposeful Parentpreneur brand soon, I hope. And even though we've been talking regularly for the past 18 or more months and we both know a ton about each other, it had never come out to him why I do what I do in my business, why I'm so passionate about my work, why I feel it is my purpose here on earth. So I want you to look at why you do what you do in your business and why you provide the services that you provide. And if it's just for the money, I want you to dig deeper. Why is it super passionate? Like why are you doing it? For the first 6 years, let me think, six. Yeah, 5 to 6 years in my business, I thought that my purpose here was to earn money. I wanted to provide good income for my family. I wanted to make sure that we were financially stable because that was something that we had struggled with for years in the past. I was tired of utility disconnects, eviction notices, um, car, car payments being late, not knowing how we were going to pay for dinner. I was tired of all of it. So I thought that my purpose and that my why was simply to make an income. If you can resonate with any of that, know that you are not alone. And so many people don't talk about the financial struggles that they face in their business. They're ashamed of it. They feel like they're all alone because so many entrepreneurs don't talk about it. It's a vicious, never ending circle of not talking about it. And that's unfortunate, I think. Because in the not talking about it, we can't and we don't give ourselves an opportunity to connect to other entrepreneurs. We are all going through struggles. The few entrepreneurs that don't go through struggles, that find that magical Facebook ad that makes them millions of dollars right away, they're rare. They're rare. And they've probably had, struggles in a past business or struggles in a career in the past. They've they've learned from the past and are able to implement it into their current reality. But in all of their history, if you could have Instagram shots of every phase of their life, I guarantee you there would be a very bad and very ugly season that they went through to get to the successes that they're having today. Stop hiding your uglies, okay? Stop hiding your bads because other people can learn from them. So, to get back to why I do what I do, I want to first introduce myself in case this is your first time on my channel. I'm Kim Sutton. I'm host of the Positive Productivity Podcast. I'm a mom of five. I'm a wife. I became a Girl Scout troop leader at the busiest season in my life because I thought it was the way to control what day of the week meetings were on. How does that sound for smart? I was already so busy that I signed up for another commitment because I wanted to control what day of the week the meetings were on. That's where so many of us get to when we're so busy being busy that we don't have time or we don't take time to step back and look at the big picture. In 2016, I hit rock bottom in my business. It was July, it was a summer's night, and I laid in bed staring at the ceiling fan, wondering if it could support my weight. And I know this may not seem like positive productivity, but this is how I got to where I am today. As I laid there in bed, staring at the ceiling fan, I was praying to God that He helped me get rid of my suicidal thoughts. Something that I have shared very little about in any part of my brand is that in 2013, my older stepbrother, who I had really very minimal relationship with for a variety of reasons that I'm not going to get into, he was found dead. And all I can say at this point is that he was an entrepreneur and that it is being investigated still. because they're thinking it's either a murder or an assisted suicide. He was an entrepreneur as well. And I know that he had faced some rough circumstances in his business. I've heard by hearsay. But I've seen not only him, but I've seen other amazing entrepreneurs end their lives. And I don't know that my brother ended his life. None of us do. But if that's what happened, if that's what happens, I've seen it with other entrepreneurs, there are other options. If I had ended my life that night in July of 2016, then I wouldn't be able to share the stories. I wouldn't have had the revelation? Yeah, revelation about why I'm here. And why I'm here is to help entrepreneurs get out of overwhelm so they can be spending time with their family, so that they can be spending time doing the activities that they love. But when we're in our businesses for the wrong reasons, when we're focusing on the money rather than the purpose and the passion, then that doesn't happen. When we're trying to do everything ourselves instead of finding the right team or setting up the right automation, that doesn't happen. When we're working 20 to 22-hour days instead of giving ourselves the self-care that we deserve, that's not going to happen. I was there. Leading up to that night in July of 2016, I was working 20 to 22-hour days. I was so sleep deprived that I would sit out here looking at my computer and my eyes would cross. It would take me 4 times longer to get anything done because I was so tired. That's not good. By the way, what I do for my clients is I set up marketing and business automation. I love to make the systems work behind the scenes. And I love to work with my team to set up those systems behind the scenes so that my clients can get away from their businesses and back into bed or back to the people and activities that they love. But the first way to do that is to, number one, give ourselves time for self-care. I'm not talking about eating right. I'm not talking about exercise. I'm simply talking about sleep. Okay, start with sleep. If you're only sleeping 2 to 3 hours a night, you need to fix that. Like now. Now. Following that night in July of 2016, I confided in a friend. I hadn't even told my husband how I was feeling because I didn't want him to think in some way that it was his fault, because it most certainly was not. I'm madly in love with my husband, and I have been since we met. I didn't want him to think it was his fault, but I was so far in the throes of sleep deprivation, anxiety, and depression that my mind wasn't thinking clearly anymore. I had gone to therapists who told me to sniff essential oils and find a scent that worked for me, and that would cure my anxiety and depression. They never even asked me about sleep. So I'm going to ask you about sleep right now. If you're feeling anxious and depressed and overwhelmed in your business, did you sleep enough last night? And if the answer is no, then push pause right now and go take a nap. And I'm not even joking. I don't want you to watch any more of my videos if you are sleep deprived. I realize you may have 18 kids running around the house, or you might just have one. Take them into bed with you. Give them your tablet or your phone. Let them watch YouTube with headphones on, and you take a nap. You owe it to yourself. After you start sleeping more consistently, then you can take a step back and look at the big picture and realize, okay, if I did this, maybe this would happen. It took 3 more years after I got my sleep schedule developed to realize how exactly my business fit together and who I want to be working with and on what. To be totally honest, although I love strategizing on the systems and on the marketing strategies and on the automation, I don't necessarily want to be building it out. But I thought 3 years ago, 4 years ago, that was the only way I was going to build my business. There's only a certain amount of dollar or hours that I can trade for dollars, and the same goes for you too. And I'm getting really clear now that I can be building a team while I'm doing exactly what I love. What exactly I love is to be on here sharing my stories with you, to be strategizing with my clients, to be running my membership group, the Positive Productivity Pod, and teaching the members how to set these things up for themselves. But it all goes back to taking care of ourselves first. one of the biggest brands that I want to support now and into the future, and I realized that she had exited the brand years prior, is Kate Spade. Kate Spade had, you know, an eye for design, but she ended her life too early. Anthony Bourdain had a keen sense of cooking. Robin Williams was an amazing comedian, but all these people gave up too early because they were in the throes of depression and they gave up. And none of us should give up. You should never give up. And that's why I'm here. If I had given up that day, then we would have never bought this house. It's the same house that we had eviction notices on. If I had given up then this podcast or my podcast, Positive Productivity, would have never launched, and it's nearing 700 episodes now. If I had given up, then I wouldn't know the amazing entrepreneurs that I do, who I now consider my best friends ever. And if I had given up, then my husband and my kids and I wouldn't have the strong relationships that we do now. I wouldn't be able to go watch my second son play his soccer games. I wouldn't be able to be celebrating that my oldest son is about to graduate high school. I wouldn't have been able to celebrate my youngest two entering kindergarten this year. But I didn't give up, and so I can't. Keep moving forward despite the struggles that you're suffering from, and I don't even want to say suffering from, experiencing right now. Keep on going regardless of what the season is throwing at you. If you haven't heard this story before, there was one year when our water was shut off because we didn't have money to pay the $40 water bill. And on that day, my husband told my older two boys, go pee in the backyard because, and when you're out there, bring in snow and put it in the toilet because your mom can go inside. It rarely snows here in Southwest Ohio in the middle of winter, but on that day it snowed, and this is a story that we'll laugh about for years to come. But I'm just gonna say I was so pissed off in the moment, no pun intended, but totally intended, because the water bill hadn't been paid. I had been working my butt off, but it hadn't been paid, so the water was shut off again. This was not the first time. It wouldn't be the last either. But it was back on that day, and it was back on because I didn't give up. I know that you could just be feeling rock bottom right now, and you may want to go get in bed and pull the covers over your head and say the heck with it all. But I want you to take 3 minutes, pray, meditate, tell yourself how awesome you are. If you're exhausted, if you didn't sleep last night, maybe you do pull the covers up and take a couple-hour nap, but then keep on going. Don't try to tackle everything today. Choose one activity. Choose one task that you're going to focus on today. And then subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment about what this video means to you and what it will do for you in the future. And come back the next time that I'm live. I am here. My why is to help overwhelmed entrepreneurs set up the systems and support and get the systems and support that they need to move into the future peacefully and prosperously. And I don't mean prosperously as far as the money goes. We can be rich in terms of love and health and so many other ways that don't even mean money. But let me tell you, when we get it all clear, when we start taking care of ourselves and get crystal clear on our why, money flows a lot easier. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Leave a comment down below, and I will be back tomorrow for another episode of KimBits. With all this said, go forth and make it a positive and a productive day.